Hello, creative theater artists. I'm Richard Klein. It is a beautiful sunny day in Los Angeles today, the kind of day people move out here for. Let's have a seat and talk some theater. All right, today's conversation is brought to us by Timothy in New York, who writes, "Can you tell me, in your experience, what makes an effective director? Perhaps a video." Thank you, Timothy, for your comment and for your viewership. So yeah, let's talk about that. I am sitting in the park, so we may have cars going by, or motorcycles, or people, or birds, who knows. So they will add to our conversation, perhaps. The job of the director is really boiled down to one thing, and that is, I feel that the director has the task of cultivating the space for others to do their work, to do their art. I'll say that again. So the director's job is really only to cultivate a space for others to do their work and to collaborate. You know, when we're directing a play or a film, as the director, we feel, oh, I have to have this vision and I have to drive the crew on this journey and da-da-da-da. And you know, I guess there is some truth to that. A smart director would absolutely have a vision set for themselves. A wise director, though, I think would know from the get-go that that exact vision will never be reached, because it's a collaborative work. You have however many actors are needed. You have the set designer, the lighting designer. You have the space that you get to use for the theater. If it's film, you have the locations that you get to use, or that you don't get to use, the camera you're using. There are so many variables, and really the only way that a director can reach the exact vision that they had is if they do everything themselves, which obviously they cannot. So it's wise, I think, to know that while I have a vision, really what I'm doing is allowing everyone else to create. And there are strategies to that, of course. You can bring on people that you feel have an aesthetic similar to yours that will get you as close to that vision as possible. I've worked with this lighting designer. I love the way this other person does sets. These actors I know can really bring the gravitas needed to fulfill the story. And you use the best resources that you have available, whatever they are, depending on your budget, your location, all of these infinite little variables, the time you're doing the show. So how do we cultivate the space? The first way, the most important way, I feel, to cultivate the space is through communication. And communication for the director mostly means listening. If everybody on the team, on stage and off stage, the technical team, the design team, the actors also, the house, when that's applicable, if every member of the team feels that they have a voice, that they have a space to share their concerns, to offer up their skill set, the more fruitful the process will be, the more positive the space will just feel in this weird, subtle way. No one will be able to really identify it, but they'll all kind of know, oh, it feels good to come to rehearsal. It feels good to come in and design. And if everyone feels that they are an equal part, a valuable part, that will make things so much smoother. When you are listening to the concerns or challenges, having the ability to quickly resolve any challenges, to be a problem solver is an asset for sure, but not simply to give the solution, but to be able to sort of ignite a flame in whoever you're speaking to. How can I get this person to have a eureka moment, to see the solution for themselves? Because often they will, if you kind of help them to think in a new way, they will come up with a solution that's better than your own. Another key to a great director: you don't have to solve the problems, you have to help everyone be able to solve the problems. That's cultivating the space. Again, being able to understand how different people speak. I think it's great to have a very wide base of knowledge, a very wide spectrum of interests. Read engineering magazines, read, what's going on in the world outside of the theater, outside of art. How can I think in a completely different way so that no matter who I'm working with, I will have a way to offer them something that they don't know, and I'll be able to more quickly be able to get a deeper understanding of where they're coming from, even if they're speaking in a way that I'm not familiar with. Let's look at it another way. What are we doing when we are directing? We are telling a story. What are the actors doing? Telling a story. What are the designers doing? Telling a story. You have this team of people bringing their own creativity to help tell a story. The writer, the playwright, if it's a new play, tells the story with words. The actor tells the story with their voice, their body, and action. The lighting designer tells a story with light. The set designer tells a story by filling space. The costume designer tells a story through textiles and clothes. So by being able to break down fundamentally what each person is doing, telling a story, and how they're telling a story, you will be able to help them along their own journey. I want to take a quick segue for those that are directing in an educational setting, teachers. So there's this added responsibility and this kind of shift of gears, this more delicate balance really, and that is the balance between getting this show ready for opening night with a bunch of new, eager people, and being able to focus on the process. So how can I not only help them to create and find ways to create, but teach them how to create, how we've been creating historically, without stifling them, each person, into a mold? How can I show them how it's been done and yet leave space for them to create the new ways it will be done, even if it's not for this show? 5 years, 10 years down the road, they could be the ones that change everything for all of us. So how do we kind of offer them tools, show them how the tools are used, and then have them learn new ways to use the tools eventually, and also make a show? So it's this delicate balance of progress, but also process. I don't know, in my mind, I just have the image of, and this is for not just for the educational setting, but overall, it's kind of like raising a puppy. I don't know if any of you have had a puppy, but I think that really the job of training a puppy is not to train the puppy to be a good dog. It's really just to day by day help this puppy through the little mess ups that they are going to have. So once we wake up in the morning knowing this puppy is going to mess up today, they are going to eat my furniture, they are going to pee and poop inside, they are going to who knows. And so my job is to help them to not really to prevent them from, because it's going to happen. If I spend all day preventing the puppy from messing up, I will go bald. Not that there's anything wrong with being bald, but to know that the puppy will mess up and to help kind of get them on the right path. And so it is with directing theater. It's not so much about plowing through to opening night, but rather about solving all of the challenges that come, kind of keeping on course day by day until opening night presents itself to you. So, as a director taking on a new project, spend a lot of time with the play and envision, paint exactly how you want it to go. What will opening night be like? What will the set look like? What will the cast look like? How will the story be told? Envision perfectly exactly how you want it to be, and just let it be as vivid a painting as possible. Once you have that vision, kind of set it off in the distance and let it go. And know that by bringing in these people and cultivating this space, you will eventually find an opening night that will likely look very different from the one that you pictured, but it will feel just as good and probably feel so much better than the opening night that you envision in the beginning. Does that make sense? It will be different. It will be a surprise. It's not so much about how it looks, it's the feeling of having supported so many people with their art by being the problem solver, being the listener, holding the space. So thank you, Timothy, so much for bringing this topic up today. I hope that offers some insight. Of course, this is just my own take and based on my own experiences in the theater and then in film, independent film. All right. Thank you all. And then we'll be on the regular schedule for Tuesday. I promised a video on how to talk about acting to non-actors, so that will be coming up. And then as comments arise, I'd be happy to keep making these filler videos throughout the week. All right, thank you for tuning in today on Insight for the Training Actor. Break a leg.